Hi, everybody. I sure hope I'm live. Facebook has changed so many things lately, and I'm telling you, I have been using Facebook for years and it totally confuses me. So it looks like I am live. I'm checking right now on my page. Okie doke. That's good news. So normally every Thursday at 1 o'clock, I go live in the Colorful Cookie Club Facebook group with a tutorial. It's either a stencil designing tutorial in using Cricut Design Space or Silhouette Studio, or it will be a cookie cutter tutorial. It could be a Procreate tutorial like today. But I decided today that I would go live on the Colorful Cookie page, broadcast it into the Colorful Cookie Club Facebook group because we have a private Facebook group, which I'm checking right now to see if I'm live there. And then also I'm broadcasting it into my free group called Procreate for Cookiers because I want those people to be able to see this tutorial as well. I started that group a few months ago, and then life happened, then Cookie-A-Thon happened, Thanksgiving happened, my son got married over Thanksgiving weekend, and things kind of went nutty. So I have not been able to do, I've done, I think, a couple of lives in the Procreate group. I do a live in my club group every week. That's my first love is the Colorful Cookie Club. That's where I spend all of my time. It's a monthly membership or a yearly membership. It's opening in January for enrollment, which I've put a link in the comments or up above at the top for people to sign up for the wait list if you're interested in learning how to design your own cookie stencils and your own cookie cutters, among many other things that we do there. So the Procreate course is something totally separate. Well, I do cover Procreate in the club more in depth, or not more in depth, but just how to use it to do things. But if you're a new user to Procreate on the iPad, I cover every single thing that a cookier would need to know to use Procreate. Like we dig into the tools and color palettes and drawing and making your own stamp brushes for your cookie cutters. To Procreate really can allow you to draw your cookie cutters digitally, to figure out your icing colors, to figure out your designs, to share that drawing with your clients before you have to make the cookies. So the Procreate course is called Procreate Fast Track for Cookiers, and it's a one-time purchase, and you get access to it for as long as you want to have access to it. It has its own website. So, and the club has its own website too. There's over 1,000 videos in the Colorful Cookie Club for people to learn how to design, literally. But the Procreate Fast Track for Cookiers, I don't even know how many video tutorials there, but there's a ton, and it shows you how to use Procreate, the app, on your iPad. And if you don't know anything about that and you're new to that, I am going to show you Procreate today. And then we're also going to be using Cookiecad to model some cookie cutters. And Cookiecad is excellent for beginners who are learning. Well, there comes my little puppy dog. She squeezed in the door there, didn't she? Cookiecad is excellent for beginners who are learning to design cookie cutters. It's even excellent for people who have been doing it for a long time. But I say that because Fusion 360 is a wonderful, wonderful software tool, and you can design cookie cutters in it. It's a little more on the complicated side. So for beginners, I always suggest Cookiecad. Now, if you're using Fusion 360, there is an add-in made by Sam's Cookie Company that you can get your cookie cutter outline in there, sketch it, draw it, click a button for Sam's cookie cutter maker, and it will instantly populate your cookie cutter. I always say sketch, click, and done because it happens so fast. But you also have to know how to use Fusion 360 for that. So, and I may be telling you way too much information here, but just know today we're going to be using Procreate to draw. We're going to be using Cookiecad to model the cookie cutter. And then we can go straight from the iPad to Cookiecad, or we can actually just export the photo out of Procreate and upload it on the computer into Cookiecad. What I teach people how to do, there are so many options. And I like to give people options. So I teach many different ways, and then my students get to decide what they want to do and how they want to use the software and the applications that I teach them. Hey, Dieter. I see lots of people hopping in here. I can't see all the comments. It's not going to show me everyone. Especially when I get over on my iPad, I won't be able to see any of the comments. But I did want to show you while I'm on my computer what we are going to be working with before I actually get started. So let me come over here to, I'll show you on my iPad first. There's my iPad. One of the club members, Mary Kerr, drew this cute little gingerbread. I just say Gingy. She drew this on her iPad because I do teach in the club how to use Procreate. But like I said, the Procreate Fast Track course is really good for people to learn everything there is to know about Procreate. And then the tutorial I'm going to show you today is more of what I show when I do a tutorial for the club. And also this is more of the videos on the website are like what I'm going to show you today for the Colorful Cookie Club. So two separate things there. I don't want to confuse you with that. That's what we're going to be doing. And then you can see I have other drawings in here. Then I'm going to show you how to bring this into Cookiecad. And you can see all the, I've got a huge library of cookie cutters that I've been making in Cookiecad because I do own the premium membership. And with the premium membership of Cookiecad, you decide what you want to pay. I pay the full amount because it's an excellent resource for me and I use it to teach with. I do have a discount code for Cookiecad Filament, which is my favorite. And it's the colorful cookie and it gets you, I can't remember, 10% off of 2 rolls or 20% off of 2 rolls. I'm not sure. And it's free shipping, I believe, in the United States. So if you're interested in their filament, you can get that on their website. And like I said, it's excellent filament. So I'm going to come back to me now, and I'm going to show you. Here is the cookie cutter from Mary's drawing. Now, you guys, this is huge. I have a Prusa, but my print bed is at 220 by 220. And it's not any bigger than the CR6SE print bed. But what I did when I brought this in, if you want to print it this way, it's too big, or this way, I turned it diagonally on my print bed in the software, and I sliced the STL file, and I turned it so that I could fit it on my print bed. This guy is huge. I also made this little one from the drawing that I do in Procreate. So all 3 of these I don't have the other one printed. All 3 of these that I'm going to be showing you, I made from Mary's drawing. So Mary, thank you for sharing your drawing with me to make this tutorial for everybody. All right, so let me go over here to my iPad. And remember, I can't see your comments because I'll be on my iPad and all my devices are in use. So I'm using my phone to show you my iPad. I've got my computer running and I can't see your comments, but I will come back after the live or after I'm done on the iPad and I'll see if I can answer any questions. All right, so I'm going to click around here and come over to my iPad. Now I have an iPad. I'm hoping you can hear me. So I'm going to be coming away from my microphone a little bit. I'll scoot it over here. Maybe that'll help you hear me okay. But I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing and that you can hear me. So if you could let me know in the comments that you can hear me, that would be great. I think you can, but like I said, I'm moving away from my microphone a little bit. So what Mary did was she emailed me this image that she drew here, and I'll show you. Procreate, the icon looks like this little icon here. You can get Procreate from the App Store. It's $9.99. It's a one-time fee. It's only available for Apple devices. the iPad and also the iPhone. Now, I do have both on my phone and my iPad. However, I only teach the iPad Procreate app because the phone is so small that I can't see. And as I get older, oh good, it's loud and clear. Thank you, Erin. As I get older, I can't see on my phone. So I have the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Now, you don't have to have that. You can have different iPads. You just need to go to the Procreate website, and it will tell you the requirements under the frequently asked questions. It'll say FAQ, and it'll tell you the iPads that are compatible with Procreate. So Mary sent me this image, and I'll show you. Here's my gallery, my Christmas gallery, and here is the project that I've done with Mary's items. So if I want to, see, I can pull up my dock here at the bottom, and then my photos I'm going to bring over here to the side, and I have actually exported, or I guess imported, Mary's drawing right here. These you see here, I have exported out of Procreate and saved so I can put them into Cookiecad. But if this confuses you, don't worry. Basically, when I do a tutorial, I show step-by-step how to do these things. And I have a Facebook group for club members. They ask their questions in there as they're working so that there's always help. And there's so many other members that will chime in and help. We have a wonderful club Facebook group. I love my club so much. And then for Procreate, that online course, you can comment right beneath the videos if you have questions about the videos in the Procreate course. So what I did here, you notice I have a double window pulled up here. If you pull up from the bottom, you can open other apps along with Procreate, and that's what I've done here. So that's a little Christmas tree that I drew. So what I want to do is take Mary's drawing, and if I want to bring it into Procreate, I can just tap on it and pull it over. See that green plus sign? And it opens up in the app, and she sent me also a black and white one. Here, see how that still has the bounding box around it and the marching ants, that's what I call those. That will not let me bring in another image, and I forgot to tap the transform tool here to turn that off. If that is blue, that's on, and we have to turn that off, then I can grab this and I can bring this one in. All right, so I'm gonna swipe over to the right, and you can see I'm just transforming this, making it larger, pulling out on the side. And then here's the other one. Now, each time I bring in an image, it brings it in on a brand new layer. This is the Layers tab. Now, this tutorial is not going to be in depth about all these tools. I do cover that in the Fast Track course. But today I'm just going to be walking you through the process, not really deep diving into all these tools, because there's a lot of information to cover there. I want to tap on this layer, the Gingy that's colored in. Tap the transform tool, I'll just use my finger, and I'm going to make this larger. You see how I'm using my finger or my Apple Pencil? And by the way, it's good to have an Apple Pencil with this app, especially if you do any hand lettering for your own stencils or cutters. It's always good to have this Apple Pencil because it has great pressure sensitivity. You can make thin and thin strokes. So I'm going to tap this transform tool again. And you see I've got lots of stuff showing here. Well, if I want to hide some things, I just tap this little check mark and it will hide. See, I can even hide the background color. I don't want to because I want to have that white behind there. And then I still have this colored in gingerbread man showing. I'm going to tap transform. I'm just going to move him over here. Now, gestures are really handy in Procreate. And so I can make this smaller. I can make it larger. I can do a pinching. Whoops, I just drew on it. I can make a pinching gesture and bring it back to full screen. So with this gingerbread man, I basically want to divide him up into parts for this set of cookie cutters. Now, when I say a set of cookie cutters, these sets are attached. I don't have to make them attached in Cookiecad, but I wanted to print them as one attached set so I could just cut them out of my dough all at once and have complete sets. You can also create sets in Cookiecad that are 3 separate pieces, but for my purposes, I wanted one total complete set. So I'm going to tap on the layers panel, and I want to add a new layer. So I don't want to draw on this gingerbread layer. If I happen to draw across here, you see I just marked on that gingerbread layer. I don't want to do that. I need to draw on a separate layer. So what I'm going to do is tap on the layers icon. I'm going to tap right. Now I can tap the plus sign if I want to draw right above this layer. You can see I'll tap plus, there it is. If I tap this layer and tap the plus sign, it creates a new layer above that. Now I'm gonna hide these two, and that way they disappear. We're playing peekaboo over here is what I like to call it. Then I'm going to select this colored in gingerbread man, tap the transform tool, I'm going to bring him over, and I'm going to make him larger, and just because I want you to be able to see. Sometimes when I work in a project, I work on a smaller image and sometimes a larger, whoops, but I want you to be able to see. Sometimes if you get a stray finger on there, you will draw something accidentally. 2 fingers will undo. See how I'm undoing? 3 fingers will redo. See that? If you wanted to erase the entire layer, if I accidentally, did some stuff I didn't want, you take 3 fingers. And I always tell people, you need to lightly swipe, and it's a Z motion. So I always go zzz, and see it just erased everything. It erased every single thing, even the inserted image, because I was drawing on the layer with the gingerbread man. So 2 fingers to undo. All right, I don't want to be drawing on this layer. I want to be drawing on the blank layer above it. So I'm going to tap on that, and it's blue, indicating that I am going to be drawing on a blank layer. Let me back up here and see if I have any comments. Sometimes I get to talking in my live videos. Hey, Jansen! I get to talking in my live videos, and I'll be talking away, and the picture won't be showing, or, you're not seeing me. And so I'm coming over here just to see. Hi, Ingeborg. She's here from the Netherlands. Good evening to you. It's evening where you are. Yes, and it's just what, 1:15, 1:18 here. The Netherlands, you're far, far away. I'm going to visit there someday. I want to see the tulips. Okay, so I'm on layer 25. Now I need to choose the brush that I want to draw with. Now, you've got, well, I have tons of options here because I'm constantly purchasing and downloading free brushes, and I try to share those when I come across them, the free ones, in the Procreate for Cookiers Facebook group. What you're going to see here, my brush that I like to use most often is this monoline, and that's because it's a nice, clean, smooth line. I also sometimes will use hard airbrush, soft blend, depending on if I'm making digital cookie designs. But right now I'm in my favorites, and I show in the Procreate Fast Track for Cookiers how to set up all these brushes and how to make your own categories. I'm telling you, this app, you think because there's just a few things up here and a few things over here and a few things over here that this app can't do a lot. But this app is for professional digital artists, and it's a massive app. Even though, when you tap across here, you can see the various tools, and then you can see all kinds of different things here if my hand's not in the way. But it really can be very simple to use, and so I try to break it down to make it easy for our purposes as cookiers. So again, I'm going to be drawing on the blank layer, not on this layer with the image. I want the one above it that's blank to be blue, so I tap on it. I'm also going to be using my monoline brush. Here's the brush options. I tap monoline. Monoline does come with the Procreate app. It does come with a set of really good brushes. Now over here, I can adjust the size of my brush. See how I have these different lines? You can bookmark sizes. So 2-finger tap to undo. Again, I always make sure I'm on the blank layer. It's always good to figure that out before you dig right in and start drawing. Make sure you're on the blank layer where you want to be drawing, not on your artwork, which would be here. Okay, so what I want to do is go ahead and I am going to just make a circle. And you can see, obviously, that is not perfect. It's very off, but if you notice, because I held down and just paused for a minute, I have this little icon, Edit Shape. And when I tap on it, it will say ellipse. And I can come right in and use these little edit points to change my shape. Then when I'm done, I can just tap and there it is. Now, if this image underneath here, this artwork is too dark, I can tap the N and I can reduce the opacity of it. And that way I can see my drawing better. So I'm still drawing on this blank layer, but you know what? I want to keep these separated. The circle for the head, the body, and the legs. I'm going to keep them separated. So I'm going to add another layer right above the circle. And you can see if I tap this, I can hide the circle. But I'm going to leave it there because I want to make sure that I am coming right up against it on this new layer. So because I have to still have this portion right here at the bottom to make a complete shape for the body. So I'm going to use my 2 fingers, see, and come in here, and I can make my image larger and smaller. And I'm going to come right here. Now, if I want each of these sides to be different sizes, I would go ahead and draw this, but I really want them to be the same on both sides. I want them mirrored or symmetrical. So I'm going to come to the gear icon, and that's the actions icon. I just say, or the wrench icon, I mean, not gear. That's in my other software. The wrench icon is actions. Then I'm going to go to canvas, and I'm going to turn on the drawing guide and edit drawing guide. And I want to make sure it is on symmetry. I'm going to tap options. You can choose vertical, horizontal, quadrant, or radial. And I have assisted drawing on. That way in my layers, my drawing is assisted if I want to turn it on in each layer. I need to make sure I grab this little dot. I want to make sure it's in the center of this body. I'm going to tap done. And then when I come in here to draw, you can see that this is going to be perfectly symmetrical on each side. Now, do you see this little gap here? That's because the head of my gingerbread man needs to be scooted over a little bit. We'll take care of that in a minute. And I can take care of that easily because his head, if you remember, is on a separate layer right here. All right, now I'm going to come down, and if I pause and hold, this shape will perfect itself. And there are settings for this, and I show how to perfect your settings in the videos that I show in Procreate for Cookiers in the tools. Now you saw because I paused, I have that edit shape there, and I'm going to just drag these edit points just to perfect this a little bit more. And that's not perfect according to this drawing, but it's still symmetrical on each side, so I'm okay with the way I have that. Now remember what I said, I'm just going to tap here to release that edit. And I want to come across here, and I need to match up with this oval on the head. So let me show you here. If I hide this, you can see I've matched that up, but it's got a few, I don't know, some points that are sticking up, which I don't like. So what I'm going to do is 2-finger tap to undo, and I just undid that line there. I'm going to turn off the oval, and then I'm still on the assisted layer with the body, and I am going to come in here, and I want to see if I can get this right. I'm going to tap edit shape, and I'm going to just drag this out to where it's just pretty well perfect. I don't want it to be too far off, okay? And I can always come in with the eraser and make changes if I need to. All right, so let's leave that right there. And then let's go back to the circle, the head, and turn it on. And then I'm going to tap the transform tool. Not on that layer though. I want to tap the transform tool on the oval layer. So I need to select it. I'll tap the transform tool. I'm going to use my 2 fingers to zoom in a little bit. And I want to make sure that that is going to line up right there. Now that looks good. That's going to be fine. And my cookie cutter will actually work. It will be perfectly seamless and together. You see how I can do this right here? It looks good. So let me think here for just a minute. So what I want to do now is come up, and I want to fill this with black. I don't have to fill this with black, but I like to fill my shapes with black. You don't have to do it. You can actually import just the lines into Cookiecad, but I typically fill mine with black. But I also make a copy of this head the way it is for insurance. So I'm going to swipe left and duplicate. Now I'm on the duplicated layer. I'm going to turn this layer off, and I'm going to come in here and drop color. So I just color dropped that. And then I'm going to come to this one with the lines for insurance. I'm going to swipe left and duplicate. And you can see how that says assisted. That means I have that symmetrical tool on. I'm going to hide one of those. And then on this layer, I'm going to drop color into this one. So far, we've got the head and the body. Now we need to do the legs. So remember I added this layer up here at the top? Well, I want this layer to be right above this one, so I can just tap it. I can tap and hold. I can drag it anywhere I want. I want it at the top right now. And I'm going to tap on that layer, and I am also going to tap on this box to make it visible. Watch what happens if I don't make that layer visible and I try to draw. It's going to tell me it's hidden. And so I'm going to cancel that. And remember, this little box needs to be checked so that layer is visible when you start to draw on it. Now, again, for this one, we can try to leave the symmetry on and see how it does. But I can already tell you it won't work because we don't necessarily need symmetry down here. Now, this body, I'm going to tap the end and I'm going to lighten it a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. And I'll turn that color up here in just a little bit. That's the opacity. That's what that's called. All right. So you remember, all right, when I added the new layer, you see how this one says assisted and this one doesn't? If I want the assisted on, I tap it and I tap drawing assist. And that is going to make this, see how it's making it symmetrical? I don't necessarily need these to be symmetrical, so I'm going to turn that off. Just tap on it and turn off drawing assist. I just wanted to show you that you can turn on drawing assist if you want to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to press and hold, and it's going to make a perfect shape for me. Then I'm going to come in here. And there's that one. So let's draw this leg now. And I'll come down here. And I press and hold, and it makes a perfect shape for me. And those are settings that you can set up in your preferences. Now, for me to be able to fill this with color and close the lines, I'm going to come right across here, press and hold, and it's going to make a perfect, see that? I can move that around. I can even hold my finger and it'll snap to, I believe, 15 degree angles. I can't remember. I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to tap Edit Shape, and I want to move this down because I want it to be, see the bottom of the one that I lightened? I'm going to curve it just a little bit, and I want it to match up there. All right. So now I'm going to show you how to erase. I'm going to tap right here to release that edit, and then I'm going to tap on the eraser and tap it again, and I want to make sure I have monoline chosen because I want to erase with the monoline brush. The brushes, by the way, and your eraser brushes are the same, so that you can erase with the same brush you're drawing with if you choose to. So now I'm going to come in here, and do you see how if I'm here? See how that's erasing? I was going to show you the cursor, but the cursor is not showing. I must have it turned off. See how I can erase that, but it's a little crooked? The same way that we press and hold with the brush when we're drawing, you can't see that, now you can. You can also perfect your erase lines. And so I want to erase this over here. Oh, now you can see the cursor. There it is. I hope. Here. I don't know. Do you see that round circle? Here, let me make this bigger. Okay, there's the cursor. And that's how we know how large our eraser and our brush is. I have my cursor turned on. This, by the way, is the size. And you can see I have this marked at, 10%. These tools do things also over here. This is the size of your brush and eraser. Okay, so I'm going to two-finger tap to undo. And I'm going to come in here really close. And you notice I'm getting in super, super close because I want to see what I'm erasing. There we go. Well, not exactly. And do you see how this is pixelated? It's pixelated because we are working with raster images. Now, see, I don't like how I just did that. So I'm going to make the size of my brush smaller. And I really, you guys, I'm a perfectionist, which is not a good thing sometimes, but I like to make these drawings perfect. I'm going to tap the eraser. I want to come in here and I just want to clean this up. Cookiecad will also clean up jagged edges most of the time if they're not too pronounced. It will give you a smooth result. So now I'm going to erase over here, and I'm going to pause and hold so that I can move this erase line and tap Edit Shape and really get it up close. And then I'm just going to come in here and erase the rest of this. Then I'm going to come over here, press and hold so that I can adjust this line, Edit Shape. I'm going to tap Arc rather than Line because I want it curved. And tap here and then just erase what's left above it. Okay, so now you see we have the legs. We have the body, which I'm going to turn the opacity back up. And I'll tap here to collapse that. And then if I do this, see those legs are disappearing. What I want to do, I'm going to hide these so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to fill in the legs. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Not yet, because I want to duplicate this because I do want to save those lines in case I want to make a stencil later for a piping guide. That's why I like to have these lines available. That was my insurance there, my extra copy. I'm going to hide this one. I want to work on the one beneath. I'm going to drop color in here. And if you are dropping color and it's spilling over into your whole workspace, somewhere you have a gap in your lines. For you to fill with color, you have to have a total closed shape. Now, I don't know what happened right there, but I don't like how that looks. So what I'm going to do is reduce the opacity, and then I need to fix this. So I can see this drawing underneath. I think what I did, I'll tap the brush. I'm going to come in here. I must have just not been very careful. Whoops, I'm drawing, but I'm not drawing very carefully. I must have not been very careful. Now, do you see how that opacity is down? So it's looking gray, and I need to turn that up. If you ever can't see a line that you're drawing, check your opacity. And that is just a little more smooth, okay? All right, so now we have the body and we have the head. Turn these back on, and there's our cookie cutter. Now remember, that's what I had showing you. I was showing you that at the beginning. Let me turn this one on. That's what we had at the beginning. And the reason you see the gap here is because when you put them in Cookiecad to make a set, you have to have a gap between them. If you don't have a gap between them, and you see how I'm pressing and holding, if I press and hold, it will isolate that layer and bring only that layer up. So I want to bring these three back. If you were to export this photo and import it into Cookiecad, you will get a complete one cookie cutter. But to have that set, you have to put a gap between them. So I like this one. You noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but on the feet that I did earlier with this one, they look a little bit different, which is fine. Both ways work. You're the designer, you can do whatever you want. That's what I always tell people. So I'm going to turn off the assisted drawing. Do you still see that symmetrical line or that symmetry line? I'll tap the wrench. I'm going to turn off the drawing guide. I don't want that anymore. It wouldn't show up if I exported it, but I just want to turn it off. So you can see now, let's use this one because I've already drawn it and I've separated them. But let me show you though, before I go on, how I would separate these others. If I turn this one on, let me come down here and turn this one off and turn this on and this on. First I have the legs. I would tap the transform tool and just bump this down. Then I would tap the head, tap the transform tool and bump this up. And now you see I have my 3-piece cutter set. Now that head is a little off center, so I can just tap a little bit and it will move it over. I don't have to be touching it to move it. I can tap on either side to move it in smaller increments. So, whoops. See, I'm always drawing over my workspace, and then just 2-finger tap to undo. There are hundreds of gestures to use in Procreate to make your workflow faster. All right, I am going to go ahead and hide these because we are going to export this one. Well, that's a different one. So for people who don't have a large printer, I put the pieces this direction to make the cutter set actually fit on the smaller print bed. So there's this option. And I was basically just testing out Cookiecad actually. So let's go ahead and export this. I'm going to tap the wrench. I am going to tap share and then PNG. And I am going to save the image. And it saves it to my camera roll. And because I use a Mac and an iPad, everything syncs together so it will be on my computer. I'm also going to come down here now. I'm going to hide that one, turn this one on, and I'm going to tap the wrench, tap PNG, which PNG, because I have the white background on, it's going to save with the white background, and that's perfectly okay for Cookiecad. Save image. And then I'm going to come back in here, and if I want to make one solid cookie cutter, I'll turn this one off. You can see this is, whoops, I got to get to this layer here. See, it told me it was hidden because I need to tap it so that it's blue. Then I tap the transform tool and move it over. So there is one solid cookie cutter, and I showed you that at the beginning, this cutter I printed. All right, wrench, I'll just do a JPEG. Oh, let me show you though. If you want to export something without the white background, you just turn the background color off, tap the wrench, tap PNG, tap Save Image, and then I always come back in here and turn the background on because I want to see it, and I'll turn on the artwork so that when I'm in my gallery, I can see this, okay? And I can see the artwork. All right, so I could show you how to import this into Cookiecad from your iPad because it's super easy to do. You just open the internet, open Cookiecad, and import the photo from your iPad. But I'm going to be doing this on my computer instead for people who want to use their computer. So let me come back over to my computer and I will try to answer any questions that you have. I don't see any so far, but Facebook doesn't always show me the comments. Okay. Let me come back over here. Okay, so now what I'm going to be showing you is how to import the images that we just drew into Cookiecad to create a cookie cutter set and also one cookie cutter like this one, and I made them small, and then like this one. And then the other one that I showed you where I had moved the pieces for smaller printers, I did print that one, but I gave that one away in one of the prize boxes from Cookie-A-Thon, so I don't have that one to show you. But let's go first to Chrome, and I want to show you Cookiecad. Whoops, I don't want to make it bigger. Let me go back smaller again. There we go. All right. So in Cookiecad, like I said, I have the premium edition. You don't have to even pay for Cookiecad. It's actually free, but you don't have all the tools that you have in the designer. So when you go to cookiecad.com, let me see, I'm logged in already. So that's why what you're going to see is this. You would drag your files here to upload, but I'm going to go to my library and you're going to see I've already added things in here. We're getting ready to do a snowman cookie cutter set here. And you can see other things that I've done with the club. We made some mini sets here. Another thing that's cool about Cookiecad is that I can share a link to cutters with people. They can click the link, open the cookie cutter, and change it to the size that they want, and they can change the cutting wall size, the blade. They can change all that, and I do that all the time for my club members so that if I make a cookie cutter at 3.5 inches or 4 inches because I love big cookies, and they want to have a mini out of it, they can just come in, click the link, and change the size. So normally I share cutters from the tutorials that I make. This one, since Mary drew it, I won't be sharing it with everyone. She did give me permission to share it with club members. But for those of you that aren't in the club, if you would like to have a cookie cutter file to see what that's like or a link, I am going to be sending my December newsletter out, and I will include a link to this tutorial plus a link to another cookie cutter that I've designed that I can share with you because it's my artwork. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and let's click, let me show you first of all where these files are. I need to switch my screen though. So on my computer, I have a folder with all of Mary's items in here that I've created. I've already created STL files and G-codes that are compatible with my printer. So first, you guys, when we're making a cookie cutter, we create a PNG. Then we create the STL using Cookiecad or Fusion 360. Then we put that STL file into slicing software like Prusa or Cura. And we generate, see how that says G-code on the end of that? That says STL. We generate a G-code from the STL. And the G-code is what our printer can read. our printer needs to be able to see where to lay down that filament, and it goes around and around and around, and each of those times it goes around is called a slice in the Prusa software that I use. And so that's what the G code is what tells your printer where to lay down the filament. Now, when I started designing cookie cutters, nobody was really teaching anybody how to design cookie cutters. Dieter helped me from L2C 3D printing. First of all, I worked with Sherlyn Leong from Cookies Art by Sherlyn. She didn't teach me anything about modeling the cutters, and I was kind of floundering on my own, figuring things out slowly. And then I met Dieter, and he helped me a ton, especially with understanding all these concepts. And then from there, I just kind of took off, and I try to really help people to make it simple. So PNG is what we drew and exported out of Procreate. You can also get PNGs from clip art that's already made, from clip art that you make in Silhouette Studio. I show people how to make cookie cutters from Cricut Design Space from their images. If they have Cricut Access, you can get PNGs from millions of sources. And so we go from PNG to STL. That's what we are creating right now in Cookiecad. Then we take the STL into the Prusa slicer, and we come out creating the G code, which the printer can read. It is a process when you make a cutter. It is not hard. It's just something you need to wrap your brain around. And listen, if I can do it, you can do it. I promise. So you can see my images right here that I have saved. So what I'm going to show you is in Cookiecad now, I'm going to click Add, and you're not going to see the Finder because I'm not going to show you Finder, but see where it says click or drag files? Well, when I do that, my Finder pops up, and I'm actually, let me see if I may be able to show you this. Hang on. Let me see if I can switch the view. I want you to see how I'm bringing those in here. Let me show you the entire screen. Yeah. Okay. So here are the 3 images. I'm holding down Shift, and I am selecting all 3 of those images that I exported out of Procreate. I'm clicking Open, and you can see my image numbers here because I didn't have them named. And then I'm going to click Accept. And now you're going to see them in my library. Here they are, 1, 2, 3. There's the one that I put the gap between for the large cutter, the one that I arranged and put the gap between for the smaller cutter that will fit on smaller print beds, and here is the single gingerbread cutter. So the first one, now remember, this is my library. So if you're doing this designer section here, you're going to click and drag a file to upload right here. But I'm in my library because I have the premium. You can get the premium, and you can choose what you want to pay, or you can actually design cutters for free. You just don't have all the extra options that you have when you have the membership. So let's go ahead and click on this one first. Now, if I want to, I can click tags to edit. I can put this in my Christmas folder. You see I have folders over here for CookieCon. By the way, I'll be teaching at CookieCon next year at both CookieCons in Ohio and Florida too. So I've got a CookieCon folder. See all these over here? I can organize these. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to click, hold on, let me move my screen over. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click Open in Designer. And here it pops into Designer, and you're thinking probably, wait a minute, that's not a whole set. No, it isn't, because right here it says things to make. I'm going to make a cutter set, a set of cutters. I could also make a set of imprint cutters, but I don't use imprint cutters that often. So I am going to choose set of cutters. And look at all these other options you can make here. And these little stars mean these are a part of the premium membership. So I'm going to do a set of cutters, and you're going to see generating the model. Here it is, but it's not what I want it to be because I've got a little gap here. So with the premium membership, and by the way, I am just using my finger on my trackpad or 2 fingers to move it around. If you have a mouse with a roller ball, you can use that as well. So right here where it says cutter sets, I have a setting saved. I'm going to click on that. And right here in inches is what I like to work. Here are the settings that I created for my cutter sets. And now you can see that gap is closed. And we have a full cutter set. Now, what it's telling me here that this section is 2.32. It's 2.95 wide. The area is 3.31. So that means that each of these, if I'm estimating, each of these is going to be about what? This is 3 inches wide, 2.32, 2 more. So this is going to be about 7 inches tall. I made the other one, this other one that I showed you, it's taller than that. But let's go with about 7 inches tall. That's good enough. And if you want to screenshot my settings over here, I'm going to click share link and copy, then close. This is the link that I can share with anybody in the world, and they can click on it and open up this cookie cutter. Now, I like an extra blade. Some people don't. You can turn that off. And here's what the extra blade is. It's right here. It kind of creates just a cutting edge, and I like that extra blade, okay? So then I can click download STL, and it's going to, my computer's going to prompt me to save this to my computer. Maybe it's thinking. This is a large model that it's generating, and my computer's working hard right now because I am live. So you can see, here's my desktop. It says image Cookiecad. I call this Mary's Gingy. And I'm going to just save that to Mary's Gingy folder. I'll click save. And now it is saved to my hard drive. I also copied the link, remember, so I usually put all my links in the notes on my Mac, and then I end up sharing them with club members from there. So pretty much, guys, that's what you do for a cookie cutter set. So now let's go back and go to library. And this time, let me show you this one. I won't need to show you that because I just showed you the set. I'm going to show you the individual. So I'm going to click on it, click Open in Designer, and I am going to, you see it says cutter. That's what I want because it's a single cutter. I don't work in millimeters. I work in inches. But I have a setting here for my cutters. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to change to inches. Here are my settings that I use, and you can see I'm just rolling around here for you. And this is pretty small, so I like my cookies bigger, so I'm going to make this 3.75 inches, and it's thinking. And now you can see it's about 2 inches wide by 3.75 inches tall. I've got my nice cutting edge there, a nice handle, and download STL. And now I have just an individual cutter from the same drawing, only I left it together rather than apart. And I know you can't see this when I'm saving it, but my computer's prompting me to save it to my folder. So I can go back to my library, like I said, and if I wanted to, I can check these. This is what I was trying to show you earlier. I can click Edit Tags, and I can save this in Christmas. And I may have one for, nope, I don't have one for Thursday Night Live in here, or Thursday Afternoon Live. Sometimes I'll save things in a Thursday afternoon folder. So now you can see my Christmas cutters. If I click on it, it should show up right here at the top. And these are cutters that I've created and shared with my group. All kinds of cutters, actually. And that is how you create a cookie cutter from a drawing in Procreate, and also a cookie cutter set. I hope that I explained that in a way that you could understand it. You can always, hi Mary, I've missed you too. You can always go back and view this video. It will be here. I'll even put it on YouTube so that people can watch it on YouTube. I'll share it with Cookiecad so that they can share it with their users. And that way people can see my process. Actually, that's one of my processes. I have many processes for designing cookie cutters, and I share them all with people in the Colorful Cookie Club. I also share how to design digital cookie cutters and how to use Procreate in the Procreate Fast Track for Cookiers online course. I try to break things down and teach people in a way that they can understand. And people learn differently. So I try to, I'm a teacher. Actually, I don't know if you guys know this. I taught elementary school for 20 years. So I am used to trying to meet people's needs who learn differently. And so that's what I try to do with adults too, as I'm teaching them how to design. Thank you, Renee. I hope that it was good. So thank you for tuning in today. Like I said, if you aren't on my email list, go to thecolorfulcookie.com, sign up for my email list, or get on the wait list for the club. And my next email that's going to go out it'll go out the beginning of next week for December. I will be sharing a cookie cutter file and a stencil, a Christmas stencil file with you, so that you can cut that on your cutting machine if you have a Cricut or a Cameo, and then a cookie cutter link to Cookiecad and an STL file for those of you that have 3D printers. That will be coming next week. So if you're not on the email list, get on there. And I send an email about once a month from the Colorful Cookie. Sometimes during Cookie-A-Thon, I send emails from the Cookie-A-Thon email list instead. So if you're not on the Cookie-A-Thon email list, get on there too, because I can promise you Cookie-A-Thon is twice a year, and it's a tutorial event like no other. We feature cookiers around the world teaching you how to decorate cookies, and you don't want to miss out on being a part of that. It's an amazing event that we have, and it's free in the Cookie-A-Thon Facebook group. Now, we do charge if people want extended access for a year to all the downloads and tutorials, but the viewing of the tutorials is free in the Cookie-A-Thon Facebook group. So I have all kinds of fun things for cookiers, because I like doing fun things and I like learning new things. And that's why I love what I do so much. And I hope that it shows. So, okay. Hi, Amy. Thank you. I'm going to tell my club members I will be back next Thursday at 1 with another tutorial for you. And I will occasionally go live on my page here. I am so busy with my club members and taking care of them, because it's a paid monthly and yearly membership. I do try to get live here on my page when I can, but it's not as often as I'd like. So thank you, and I will see club members next Thursday at 1. Bye-bye.